everyone, and welcome back to the She Shoots podcast, Women Empowering Women in the Shooting Community, Season 2, Episode 23, Untamed Women. Today's episode, we'll be covering the theme of professional/career. My name is Regina Ruiz Ordóñez, and I'm from the Canadian University Shooting Federation. And joining me today, as always, are Deneen Tomlin and Casey Gavinchuk from Lady Guns, and Kelly Melanson from Maple Seed Projects, Slamfire Radio, and CCFR Women's Program. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah. Let's start by thanking our sponsors. So thank you to Cabela's Canada Outdoor Fund, positively shaping the future of the outdoors. Every cent donated by rounding up at checkout goes towards helping Canadian organizations just like ours. Savage Arms, home to the Stevens single-shot rifles and shotguns. Beretta, family-owned and operated since 1526. Vortex, the best in optics, and Canada First Ammo. If you have any questions or comments throughout the show, make sure to leave them in the chat box below. Doing so will automatically enter you in today's giveaways. Today we have a She Shoots t-shirt, Canada First Ammo prize pack, and a compliment from Cathy today. We got a Wolf Huntin Adventures / Untamed Women prize pack. And that's it for me. So Deneen and Kelly, could you please introduce our guests for?
Absolutely. Thank you, Regina. And welcome, Cathy. I have the pleasure of introducing you and reading your bio. But before I do that, I just want to say to everybody, I can't believe this is our last episode of season 2. And I'm so excited with today's guests and how we're going to wrap it up. It's going to be really exciting. So Cathy, let me introduce you and then we'll get into some questions and an amazing conversation. All right, so Miss Cathy Wolf. Cathy lives in North Western Alberta with her husband and 4 kids. They are very much an outdoors family and enjoy all activities. Cathy grew up in a small agricultural town in central Alberta where hunting wasn't a main focus for her family, but firearms were around, however, for gopher control. In the hunting world, she has, and I scrolled up too quickly, she has been very fortunate in successfully harvesting every big game animal in Alberta and was the very first woman to do so. She has also completed her Super 10, and we're going to get into that and what that means in the podcast tonight. Cathy and her husband own an outfitting company called Wolf Huntin Adventures, and through it, she has met a variety of individuals, and she's noticed a trend that wives, girlfriends, and partners were a bit intimidated or actually uninvolved. So this inspired Cathy to start something called Untamed Women. And it's to help build a network for women of all levels and of experience to reach out and connect through range days, fishing adventures, and hunting trips. So we're going to talk about Untamed Women. We're going to talk about Wolf Huntin Adventures. We're going to talk about the Super 10, and we're going to talk about your crazy family that keeps all of this together. Welcome, Cathy Wolf. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here and chat with you girls. It's an honor to be asked to be a part of this.
No, thank you very much. Well, we have so much to talk about tonight. I hope everybody's buckled in for 2 hours. So.
I don't think it's going to feel like 2 hours, but
it's not.
With everything that we're going to be talking about, it may take 2 hours. So
absolutely.
I was just going to say, before we get started on the interview, I just have to say, Cathy, the background that you're sitting in front of there is incredible. Those are some of your successful hunts. But I think that you win for the winning background for all of our 2 seasons of podcasts.
I agree.
Yeah, it was... we talked about with the family and that kind of stuff. So I'm actually at one of the basketball practices right now. So we are improvising with a picture of the background.
That's awesome. That's super creative. All right. So Kelly, let's get into it.
Okay. So Cathy, we did hear a little bit about you that you grew up in a small Alberta town that was an agricultural thing, and that firearms were part of your background. However, it was for basically pest control. But do you want to tell us a little bit about that? Was it something that you went out with Dad, or did you grow up with actually shooting, or was that something that was left to other people? But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I did grow up in a small agriculture farm. We raise cattle, and
Yep.
you have your grains and your hay to feed your cattle, and so we were a self-sustaining farm. And firearms are part of the agriculture world, right? Gophers were the number one target from the time I was yay big and all the way up, because anybody that has them knows what kind of destruction they are. And then we grew up with a little bit of Grandpa had the 12 gauge shotgun and that. But again, that was more for agriculture reasons, right? Like we harvest our own beef and that. So, I mean, obviously to make it humanely to harvest and everything, it was always a part of it. So I just grew up around guns. My dad and my grandpa did introduce me to, firearm safety and that, but it wasn't a huge part of our day-to-day lives. It wasn't like we had the gun beside the front door for us to walk out with. It didn't come to be part of my day-to-day life until I met my husband.
Okay.
And it was basically, you better hunt or you're going to be left behind, and there's not going to be a relationship because he's going to be out in the bush and you're going to be sitting at home. So I picked up that challenge, and to say I conquered that challenge, I'm going to just, toot my own horn that way. I think I conquered it pretty well.
I think so too, especially with
I would agree
there. So you didn't start hunting until you met your husband then?
Yeah.
Okay. And so what did you first get into? What was the first game that you went out to hunt?
We went out for deer.
Okay.
You in Alberta, we're very fortunate where whitetail is a general tag. You can buy it over the counter, and we have wonderful whitetail opportunities in our area. The first animal I actually ever did take was a mule deer doe. More so, and think it was a cluster. It is a cluster. That's just, how it is with everybody's. We were both young. We were, learning how to do that whole communication, and not everybody that shoots can hunt, and not everybody that hunts can teach. And it was a very steep learning curve on that side of things that we dealt with. So yeah, that's how it all started. It started with a muley doe, and it made my trigger finger really itchy, and then never stopped.
Well, you were able to you were able to successfully harvest your first deer. You guys are still together as husband and wife,
Yeah.
So I think it was successful.
Yeah, success all the way around. Well done.
Yeah.
So tell us about a little bit more about it, because I think that okay. So what was your most favorite hunt that you've gone on?
Oh, my most favorite hunt. How about my most memorable hunt?
How about that?
Because I don't have a favorite. Every hunt I'm on is my favorite during. But one of my most memorable hunts, I'd say, is my Alberta mountain goat. So in Alberta, it's a lottery draw. So it is closed right now, but if they ever reopen it again, I will never even be able to apply for it and put my name in, because it is a once in a lifetime draw. So when I got drawn, Byron was actually in Texas working, and I got this registered letter in the mail from Fish and Game. And honestly, I'm not going to lie. My hands were shaking. My knees were quaking. I was nervous. I'm like, what did I do to deserve a registered letter from Alberta Fish and Game? So I sat in the truck and opened it, and it was like, you are the successful applicant or one of the successful candidates. You got to go through these steps to be able to hold this tag. And I just blew my brain away. I honestly, and I was like, okay, well, I'm in sheep shape. I can be in goat shape. Same thing, climbing the same mountain. No, they are not the same thing by any means.
So are you telling me, Cathy, that all those sheep hunters out there that think they're so tough, they should talk to some goat hunters? Is that what you're saying?
Don't get mad at me, everybody, part of the Wild Sheep Foundation. No. It's different country, that's for sure, that they live in. So then just a few months before that, we actually lost one of our brothers, and we had made little bullets with his initials engraved on them as a keepsake for everybody. And so we went out and we hired a friend of ours with a pack string to take me out there. We went out to the Wilmore, and we're sitting on the mountainside waiting for this goat to make its way down, and it is snowing and sleeting and raining and windy, and throw a condition that you can that's mountain hunting. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining. It is mountain hunting. Waiting for this goat to feed down, and he kept feeding up, and I felt a poke in my lower back, and I've been leaning on my backpack glassing all day waiting for him, and I felt like a little poke in my back, and I kind of reached around and I felt the little bullet that I had that we made a keychain with Frank's initials on it. And at that moment, Tyler, our friend that I was with as my guide out there helping me, with the pack string and everything, he's like, you're going to have to pull the trigger and feel the rush. Like, you're out here to fling some lead, and you're never going to, it's like literally half an hour till dark. You're going to have to, this is your opportunity. And with that and the little poke from behind, I pulled the trigger and dropped my goat at 655 yards. So yeah, that's my most memorable hunt.
What a story. Thank you for sharing that, Cathy. It has some very touching moments. It's amazing. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
And it also shows that your skill as well, because it's not on a flat surface, and that's quite the shot.
That's a township away.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do that shot again, but in that moment, it was time to pull the trigger. So, yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So let's touch a little bit, Cathy, while we're still talking about your hunting accomplishments on some of the stuff I mentioned in the intro. Let's talk about this Big Ten thing, and let's talk about the fact that you've harvested everything. What does that mean for people who are watching and listening?
So the Alberta Slam, the Alberta Big Game Slam, is comprised of 10 big game animals, 11 if you count wolf. In Alberta, we are so very fortunate and blessed that we do have such a variety of animals within our backyard. And so I was successful in whitetail, mule deer, elk, moose, black bear. I'm just making the list as I go through to make sure I don't miss one. Antelope, cougar, sheep, bighorn sheep, and the goat.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm missing one. It'll come to me. Anyways, every big game animal. I said black bear, right? Mule deer.
Yeah.
Anyways, buffalo. That was one. That's the one. Buffalo. So I've shot my buffalo as well. So
I was going to say grizzly, but buffalo. There you go.
Can't shoot a grizzly in Alberta yet. Hopefully, maybe that'll change. So yeah, so I was able to get all of those animals with a lot of luck. I'm not, a little bit of skill, a lot of luck, and good guides, good friends, good contacts. The outfitting world, the outdoor world, the hunting community, we're vast, but we're very small. So I was able to get all of those. And like I said, like the goat is the biggest one that sets me apart because it is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Thanks, Jamie. It's a huge accomplishment to be able to say that. And when I was drawn, there was 3 of us that were drawn that year, and I was the only successful one to harvest a billy. So
wow,
it's a huge feat on that. So that's my Alberta Slam.
Amazing, amazing. So with that behind you, I heard a rumor you've got some aspirations going forward on another accomplishment. Share with us what you're going to do.
I do. So once I finished, I went to Newfoundland and was able to harvest woodland caribou there. And that checked off the Super 10. So all of those animals in Alberta add in a caribou. And I'm like, you know what? I want to conquer Canada. So my goal now is to hunt and fish in every province and territory in Canada. So it's a huge task ahead of me. It's going to be a lifelong goal. But I'm going to do it. That's my next challenge.
Good for you. We'll be cheering you on. Absolutely. We'll have you as a guest on season 24, episode 763.
That's pretty much it.
Did you calculate that?
It's in my head like that. Yeah.
So I'm sure that with you doing the Big 10 and the Super 10 now, I think your aspirations and your goals for the future are easily achievable for you. I think that you're the type of woman who just puts her mind to something and you get her done. So I wish you luck, but I know that you're going to be successful.
Absolutely. So. Absolutely. So I want to lean in a little bit on the fact that for anybody who's watching and listening, that we've established you're a wife, but you're a mama too. And you got a bunch of kids, half a basketball team. So, so you did all this while raising a family, as a young family who are now you're pushing them out of the nest. So, share with us a little bit about your kids and how they have worked into this hunting and outdoors family.
Yeah. So, all of our kids, we have 2 boys and 2 girls that are biologically ours. And we have about 587 that are adopted that call our house home, which it's just awesome to see, right? They all want to be involved. And ever since they were little, we would take them with us. There wasn't something that we were doing that we didn't take them with us, whether it be them in a carrier on the front, riding in the side-by-side beside us, backpack on your back. They were involved. My youngest, she's going to kill me for saying this, but she used to call her binoculars her zoom eyes.
I love it.
I need my zoom eyes while we're driving around. So they've always been involved in everything, and they still are to this day. So our 2 oldest, our boys, are out of the nest and living life, doing their thing. But they both come back to help out with certain seasons, bear season being the easiest one for both of them because university is done and it's usually spring breakup for the oil fields. So they come and they help out, and everybody pitches in on that. And it just became a family thing. Even when we started our outfitting company, it was all hands on deck. Bait needs to be done. Lodge needs to be done. Food needs to be cooked. You're home. You have 2 hands and a heartbeat. You're going to be helping out.
Awesome. So let's talk about that. Let's get into Wolf Huntin Adventures. When was it started, and how old was the family then? And now, where is Wolf Huntin at? And then we're going to talk about the company itself and what it does.
So we officially became a company in 2014, I believe it was, which we had all the kids were young and little. Our oldest one was 7 at the time, all the way down to 4 was Mackenzie. So we definitely, they grew up in an outfitting family with hunters in and out of the house and camps being made and all of that. And sorry, what was the rest of your question?
Oh, and I just wanted to say, we'll get into Wolf Huntin Adventures. Obviously, the kids you established, they started at a young age, pitching in, and then you started the company. And so let's just go to the company now. Let's talk about Wolf Huntin Adventures and what you guys do, where you do it from, and let's go from there.
Okay, so yeah, Wolf Huntin Adventures, like I said, we started in 2014. Started with a dream of Byron's, to be 110% honest. When we first started dating, he looked at me and said, one day I'm going to be an outfitter. And I laughed at him and I said, okay, you bet, hun. Go back to work now. Joke's on me, though. He started with wolf hunts and was like, this is what we're going to do. I'm working away at a month at a time, but I'm home for 2 weeks at a time. So we're going to start with our clients and we're going to start that way. And it was me doing the baiting while he was gone to work. We would go when he was home and find the bait sites and find where we wanted to set up. And then during the month that he was gone, I would keep the baits going, checking the cameras, keeping, setting up the blinds, preparing in time for him to be home. And then when he would guide the clients and do the HR side of it, did that on top of work outside of it. I have a full-time job, 9 to 5 as well, and running the kids. And I did that for about a season and a half. And I looked at him and I said, no, you have 2 choices. One, you're home and you run the outfitting company, or 2, you just hunt for fun and for ourselves, and we're not doing a company, because I can't balance everything and I can't add more to my plate. So we became a full-time company and a full-time outfitter at that point. And we spread from just the wolf hunting to, we do black bear, mainly focusing black bear on the spring, but we do have some in the fall. We do rut moose. We do late season whitetail. We do have some archery whitetail as well, but that's usually falls in the same time as rut moose. And we're going to prefer to do the rut moose over the archery whitetails. And then we roll right back into wolf season again. So we're rocking and rolling year round here.
Outstanding. So for everybody that they heard you were in Northern Alberta, but where are you in Northern Alberta?
So we are in Manning, Alberta. So we're about 3 hours north of Grand Prairie and an hour and a half north of Peace River. So directly across from Fort McMurray. If you could fly as like a bird, we're directly across from that.
Directly across. And so we've talked about what kind of hunts that you offer. Let's talk about the services.
So we are pretty much an all-inclusive once you get there. We don't include your airfare or rental vehicle or anything like that, because it's just too messy to try and, what state are you flying out of, and you want to go to your mother-in-law's house before you fly up or whatever. But once you get to camp, it's all-inclusive. We have full lodging at our house for the whitetail and the wolf. Moose and black bear, we have remote camp. So it is a wall tent camp that we set that up with. And then we go from there into spike camps as well. Your food's included, your drinks are included. If there's a specialty alcoholic drink or adult beverage or whatever you want, you're going to have to bring that for yourself, because we're going to be very general to make sure we encompass everybody. But it is all included, as well as your travel to and from camp to your hunting locations. It's all part of it. We do your prep for, if you were to harvest a moose, we would be skinning and gutting and all of that good stuff. And then we will work with a butcher to get your animal processed before you leave. But you will have to work with the butcher himself as to how you want it cut and make arrangements that way. But we will make sure it's all good and hanging there. We have one of our guides is actually a taxidermist. So if you do harvest a wolf with us, they are on the CITES list. So you don't get to take it home with you. So him as a taxidermist, he can do all of the hide prep and the tanning for you, and then the CITES permit and export permits for you.
Excellent.
So We have everything there. You just got to get yourself there.
Okay. What about international clients? Do you host a lot of people from outside of Canada? And if so, what's the process for them?
So it's a similar process for everybody outside of Canada, outside of Alberta. If you are in Canada, it's kind of a wonky thing, but if you're a Saskatchewan resident still, you're a non-resident in Alberta.
Okay.
But we host a lot of Americans and some Europeans. They're from all over the world. New Zealand, Finland, Australia, Spain. I'm going to buy a globe and put a pin in all the countries of people that have come so we can do it that way. But it's really interesting. And it's the same. The biggest thing is to know what your airline's going to allow. That'll be my tip and trick for everybody that is watching. Some airlines do not allow animal parts to be flown unless they are live and in a carrier. So if you book a flight with an air carrier that doesn't, then, your horns, your cape, your meat, it's a lot of money that you're gambling on. So just to make sure as to what you're doing on that. And your license that you're hunting with is your export permit for a lot of the animals that you will harvest, except for the wolf. Obviously, they are on the CITES permit.
How hard is it for them to get a tag? So whether it's a deer tag or any other tag for the game they're about to hunt?
For them to come with us? Well, we only book enough hunters that we have allocations for, but we are booked out. So like for wolf, we're booking for 2026 right now. Our whitetail, I do believe we are in 2027. And our bear, we do have, I think 2024 is full now, and we're booking to 2025 now. So it's definitely, but we do have cancellation lists as well. So to make sure you contact us if there's, hey, I get time, I can take time, I can be there in a week. If you give me a week's notice, then we can put you on the list because life happens, right? So there's always a list.
What about guns? Are you able to supply them? I know that some people have, they're not so keen on flying with their guns, and others want to take their guns. But are you able to supply those for anybody who wants to come and do a
hunt with us?
Hunt with you?
Yeah, we do. We do have rifles and ammunition that we will let clients use. We call them the client guns, and it's also gives me a reason to buy more guns because I need to add to our collection. Right? There's no limit that way, but you do, because it is there. That's another thing with flying, right? Sometimes flying with a firearm can be a long process. So if it's going to be a pain in the butt, and it is easier just to call us and say, hey. But you have to, again, include that when you do book, because sometimes, person A, person B, person C are already using rifles. We can probably accommodate person D, E, and F, but we're going to have to probably make sure that we have the ammunition available. We want you to shoot it. We want you to feel comfortable with the gun as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So what is your favorite part of being a hunting guide outfitter?
The people. It's my favorite. It is. It's a big thing, but it is. For the simple fact that you get to meet personalities and people from all walks of life, and you get to learn how did they become involved in it? How did they grow up in that area? Did they turn 30 and say, I'm going to start hunting? It's a midlife crisis at 30, 40, 50. There's a whole bunch. There's so many different personalities and characters out there that I get to meet. And it's also, you build your network that way. The people I meet through owning this outfitting company with my husband, and the network we've built, I never would have met them before. Otherwise, right? So it's pretty awesome, and the opportunities it provides you it's amazing. The contacts you make.
What about women? I was just going.
Yeah, no, I would.
Yeah.
I'll get to my question after you go ahead. Ask about the women. That's an important topic on this podcast.
Do you see that there's a lot of women who are clientele for the outfitters, or do you think that it's increasing?
It is increasing.
Okay.
But there's not. And that's honestly, it is an important topic on this whole thing because a lot of men or clients that we have are like, yeah, I wish my wife would or partner or girlfriend would come hunt with me, but she's intimidated in it, or there's not going to be another female in camp, so she doesn't want to be that only girl in camp. It's a huge thing, and that's really what it started, that tickle on the back of your brain, like, I should start a group, and there's got to be more people than just me that want to be a part of it and go with it. So, and that's honestly why I started Untamed Women, was because of that. It was, I mean, it's not international yet.
Hopefully it will be soon.
You know it. But it is something that it is province wide, and it's reaching out to everybody on different experience levels and everything. Because like when I started back with Byron, I was the only girl on those hunting trips in camp, and all of a sudden I was handed a rifle that I was unfamiliar with, and I'm looking at it going, where's the safety? How do I load this? What do I do with it? And I got the look of, I've got a third eyeball or something, or two heads, because you should know this. This has always been part of it. And it's just not something I grew up with. So being that resource and being able to build that network for women around the province, potentially country and maybe international, you never know, is just a huge thing for me to be able to do that. Because if that was available when I started, I would have maybe been more involved sooner.
Yeah.
And not just the little girl that was being a tag along.
So in order to get more women involved, we have to get more women involved.
Sounds like
that double-edged sword there. Yeah.
Right,
In order
right. But there's gateway activities, I think, shooting events, range days. We were talking before we went live about easy hunts, because bird hunting, walk-up pheasant hunting, a goose or a duck hunt, those are easier. You're not up in the mountains. You don't often have to go to a camp, and it can be organized in a way that it can be a bunch of women enjoying themselves. And
Absolutely.
Really, so I think you're doing a great thing with this, Cathy, because it's very much in line with all of us trying to get out, to get more women out to do things. So tell us about the events that you have as part of Untamed Women.
So with Untamed Women, we have events pretty much booked every month out of the calendar here. We start with ice fishing. So we have an event booked for the first weekend in February, and it's going to be sleeping on the ice and ice fishing up in Slave Lake. And hopefully it'll be cold on the lake, not what it is outside right now, so we can get some ice happening. And it's a free event. It's totally donated. All the shacks are donated. Gonna do a clothing drive so that we can give back to the community and the women's shelter. So it'll be the cost of coming, and for the weekend we'll be bringing some clothing. So it'll be awesome that way.
Yeah.
And then we expand out into hide prep, how to field dress your animal, how to skin your animal, doing the full, turning the ears, like all the way up, right off the skull, everything. Fishing events. We're got even like open water fishing, where you are going to go to Cold Lake and fish some trout. We've got pheasant hunts booked. Everything. I'm working with the Trappers Association to put on some expos. Working with a butcher on how to actually process your actual cut meat, not just field dress it. it's we do everything, and range days are a big one. Range days are a huge part of it. I host one in Manning here, and then I do travel to like Fort McMurray as well as a guest instructor over there as well.
Yeah, we recently had Jamie Lee on, and she was talking about her range days, and then she was talking about it's almost like a symbiotic relationship between the two of you. So why don't you tell us about your past couple of range days, and do you have any coming up in the near future, and how people can register?
We do. So our range day is booked for our actual national range days. So the first weekend in June will be our Manning range day. Saturday will be our women, and Sunday will be our youth. So we're going to follow the same youth/family. I should word it that way. We'll follow the same format that we followed last year. We introduce everybody except for the youth to pistols. That's a big one on Saturday, handguns. We do 22s, rifles, shotguns, and archery as well. So the only thing we remove for the family day is the pistols, just because that's just not. That's just not. We do host 25 people each day, so we push through 50 people each as for each participant each year. Providing them with lunch and goodie bags. In their goodie bags, you make sure you have your PPE, your hearing and eye protection, going over your range rules. And we break them down. I found if you break them down into groups of, say, 5, and then you rotate them through each station, it gets more one-on-one with the instructor, and it still gives a illusion of structure and organization. I say illusion because you know how that goes sometimes. Yep. And then you just give them that time to rotate through each, right? The morning, I want these 2 stations done, or 3 stations. The afternoon, we have these 2/3 stations. And then that way everybody knows that they have an hour and a half, 2 hours to go through each side of it. And then with lunch provided. So,
and are you finding these are new shooters, return women? What's the makeup of your attendees?
Last year was the first year we held an event in Manning for several years. So there was a lot of new shooters. There was a lot of very inexperienced shooters, which is good. I wanted them to be able to come and feel comfortable to take that first step and to introduce themselves to firearms and to archery. Next year, so I have a registration. I haven't posted it yet, but we will be posting the link on both on Facebook. Will be the way we will be keeping everybody in the loop and sharing our stuff that way. And then I'll post it myself individually, like sharing the pages information. But we have people that shot last year that won. They're like, okay, I feel a little bit more comfortable. I feel like I can like nail that target next time. And I'm going to bring my sister with me, and I'm going to bring my daughters to family day. And it'll be awesome that way. I'm excited for it. And even just stirring up the word of mouth. And our Manning has a lot of other communities surrounding it, and speaking with them, they're like, okay, I want to secure my spot now because I want to be there.
Yeah.
Right.
We had a female conservation officer that attended our day the whole day, and she was amazing. She was able to answer questions. She floated around. I didn't give her a station. I just let her be one of my floaters. Yeah. And she participated in a lot of the activities as well, and worked with the kids and all this. And she's like, and when are you doing it? Because I want to make sure that I'm coming and not the other people next year.
Awesome.
So she's already elbowing her way into it that way. So it was pretty awesome to get the support from everybody in the community as well.
So what about the community? Were they willing to support you with prize packages, or even just with ammo or anything? So are you seeing that the community is starting to get really involved?
Yeah. No, it was awesome. I reached out to certain companies within the community. I didn't want to ask every single person for every single little thing, but the big asks, like ammo was a huge cost when you were putting on a range day, and actually Cabela's stepped up big time and provided a lot of our ammunition. So did Barton's and Bullets and Broadhead in Grand Prairie. They definitely were there. And then a lot of the other communities and companies around, lunch was provided, donations of waters. Vortex was a huge sponsor with individual little bags. So we did participant grab bags. When you signed up and you gave me your registration, you signed your liability, you signed everything in front of me, you got your name tag, you got a little Vortex bag. Every single participant won a prize. So like they're literally, we're keeping them engaged, making sure that they have the resources available as to, okay, if this is something that interests you and you want to pursue further, this is the steps you're going to do. This is who you're going to contact. This is what you're going to want to do. So there's a lot of support everywhere. It was like, I think we had volunteers wise on the family day, it was almost one volunteer to every 2 participants.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because there was just that many people that wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah. And are you hearing or seeing a conversion to licensed gun owners, people signing up for PAL, and even maybe transitioning women over into hunting or fishing?
Absolutely. Since the first range day we had here, our membership at our range, I know there is 4 or 5 that have stemmed from there. Other people that participated, their spouse is already a member or family member, so they didn't have to, they could be a guest at that point. But the amount of pictures I got, like, you taught my daughter, you took, she was able to get comfortable with shooting through a scope at your range day. You took that time. I took her out. This is her first animal this year. She finished her destination. This is what her first animal. And I just am beaming with pride. Like, these are my little, I don't know. I'm almost like a mother hen. I'm so excited about each and every one of them. One of my success stories, I've shared it with a couple times, was there was a little boy who attended our family day, and he was pretty intimidated by the fact, like, there's a lot of people shooting. There's always a shot going off. You have 25 people shooting. There's going to be either a rifle going off or whatever. Somebody down the line is going to go off. And so he was overwhelmed. So when I was floating and I walked by, I'm like, why don't we go have lunch early? And then when everybody else is having lunch, we'll close the range and you and I will come over here and we'll take some time just to get comfortable with the 22s. And, we'll just do the single shot and go from there. So he was pretty happy to go and eat his lunch by himself and everything that way. And then we went and he got there and it took a while to get him to feel comfortable, right? Like looking through the scope, how to shoulder the gun, the different parts of the gun, like this is your safety. When you're ready to shoot, you're going to put your safety off, and then you're going to continue your breathing, and you're going to watch through the scope where your target is, like walking through each step. And when he pulled the trigger the first time and he hit his target, because I had the shoot and seize for the 22s that the kids have. Oh my Lord. It was like I flipped a light switch and I created a monster.
Yeah.
He never left that station. He probably shot every single extra 22 shell I had there. And he forced his mom and dad to buy a membership, and they went every Monday night and they shot 22s. And and then they started shooting some of the bigger guns, and they were hitting the bullseye at 100 yards, both him and his brother. And they are not from a family that is an outdoorsy family. They're a family that came from downtown Calgary and moved up to Manning for work, and they're totally outside of. So I'm like, that's that's one of my success stories. That's a little kid that's, you know, he's really pushing his whole family, and both him and his brother are, so.
Congratulations. That's a great story. It's always, especially when it's a younger kid that overcomes fear and intimidation and then just embraces it. So I've seen that with archery and with rifles. It's kids love rifles.
Yes.
They love
instant satisfaction and instant gratification of it. So
absolutely. So we've talked about wolf hunting, and we've talked about Untamed Women, and we've talked about your manning range days. Where can people find you on the internet? I think Casey's got all of that lined up, but you're all over social, both yourself, your husband, and your events, right?
Yeah, we're all over social. So we're on Facebook. There's those there, and on Instagram as well. We have the pages for us privately as well as with the businesses. We kind of keep everything going on all sides of it. Facebook is with the range day. I do not have an Instagram for the range day. Just it's easier to share documents and registration forms on Facebook than it is on Instagram. So
So if people do have questions for maybe are looking for what packages you offer for the outfitters, do you have a website as well, or?
We don't have a website. So I did have a website that I had made and all that, and the traffic through the website in today's day and world, it just isn't there. So we primarily focus then on the social media platforms because it's just, and then word of mouth as well. But we are, like I said, we are on Facebook. Byron's contact information is right there. You can call him day or night.
He's probably going to thank you for that.
Yeah, you bet. You can send him an email. Everything's on our Facebook page. Even if you don't have Facebook, you can access our page. It is a public page on that. So even if you do not have Facebook, you can Google us and we're there.
Okay. Excellent. So for Untamed Women and your manning range days, what are you looking for by way of help or donations or sponsors? What kind of things, if people were interested in supporting you, what kind of things are you looking for?
Always interested in competent instructors. Again, we'll go back to that. Not everybody that shoots can teach, and not everybody that shoots can hunt. We'll put it that way. And honestly, any of the support on putting on a range day, our costs are pretty minimal for the fact that we get full donation of the use of the range. We close the whole range for everything. We don't have to pay for that. We do have liability in that, of course. And like I said, ammunition is a huge cost, and always looking for swag and prizes, because who doesn't like to win a little goody for,
What about for your events? It sounds like you've got a lot of things booked. What if somebody somewhere in the province had a good idea for an outdoors women event? Fishing, hunting. Before we went live, we were talking about walk-up pheasant. We were talking about goose, duck.
Just reach out to me and on any of my platforms there and let me know. I would love to grow and reach out and create activities and events, organize events with everybody around. It's awesome. If anybody has an idea or has hey, when you're in this neck of the woods, let's do this. Evening activities, when you have like pheasant hunting, for example, it's not exactly a first thing in the morning, get there before daylight kind of activity, right?
Yep.
So you have something you can do in the evenings. Like, I'm always looking for opportunities. And
well, I'll tell you what, I'll throw it out there. Lady Guns and Untamed Women should do a walk-up pheasant, sporting clays, and a wine and cheese social sometime.
I think that's fantastic.
I love it.
All right. Okay. We'll make that happen.
Do you have anybody that's personally sponsors you that you want to give a shout out, or anybody who has had sponsored all of your events that you want to
all of my events? Well, we touched on a few of them when we went through the range. Cabela's was huge. and they're a huge supporter. You can go to them for everything. Vortex, again, is an awesome one that you can reach for everything. Scree is the Scree gear. I'm a brand ambassador for them. They're an amazing gear for, everything for hunting that you can have. And
Is it women's clothing? We're always asked about women's hunting clothing.
Yeah.
They have a women's line. They are further developing it, and they are listening to us when we say things about how to change it, which is huge. It is huge. And honestly, some of their line is very, I don't want to use the term unisex, but I'm going to use the term unisex. That's an awesome company. And like, they have the full, like, if it doesn't fit you right, ship it back. We'll find you something that fits you right. So
amazing. And where is Scree out of, Cathy?
They have a Canadian division as well as the US division. So it actually ships straight from, I'm going to get in trouble here, Saskatchewan is the one where they have everything with the warehouse, but like Alberta is their main, and we have, you can reach out. You can actually talk to our Canadian chapter president and all that with an email, and he'll get you direct. It's not like you're going to call and talk to a robot and get answered.
It's really, it's really high quality stuff, good stuff. Not only that, you look good in it too.
It's good if it can keep up to me on the mountainside and in the middle of the bush and everything. It'll keep up to everybody. So
there you go.
It's
outstanding. So one of the things we like to do before we close out our podcast, Cathy, is we like to ask our guests a little bit about recommendations or suggestions or words of advice for women and the young ladies out there on getting involved. So what would you say to women that were interested in either hunting or just getting involved in shooting with maybe the idea of becoming a hunter?
Reach out. Don't let a little bit of discouragement or a little bit of setback discourage you from everything. You're going to fail and it's going to suck, but keep going through it and keep pushing through it. And then for anybody that is experienced, that wants to continue on, maybe wants to become an instructor at a range day, or maybe wants to become an outfitter guide, never think that you know it all and you don't need to learn anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I learn so much every time I go out to the bush. I think I know how to stalk a whitetail, and I could be shown I know nothing about stalking a whitetail. And the same with shooting and getting out there at the range. Never feel that you know it all. You're going to have to take that breath and rely on your basics. And if somebody says, hey, I noticed that you're doing this, you might want to try that. Try it. Maybe it'll improve your accuracy. Maybe it'll improve your consistency. Maybe it won't, but it doesn't hurt to try it and take that time to listen, because you never know.
Great words of advice. So I heard, give it a try, expect and embrace failing, because that's how you learn.
Mm-hmm.
And I also heard that if you think you know everything, you're wrong.
Yes.
And that there's always an opportunity to learn and always an opportunity to grow. And the beauty that I've found with women in this industry, whether it be shooting or hunting, is everybody is so willing to share and open up their gun cabinet, open up their closet of hunting clothes, share their dogs. It's an amazing group of women, and I'm super honored that, Cathy, you're part of our She Shoots community now too.
Yeah. Long time listener, first time podcaster. Yeah, women are the fastest growing dynamic in the outdoor community, and I'm happy and proud to say that I'm a part of it, and I love to teach and include so many others. So
Well, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast, but also actually having such an impact on especially women in Alberta. But I think also, I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to achieve your goals and then across Canada and internationally as well. You're a rock star. So
Here's hoping.
Absolutely. Well, earlier you said people like winning things. So
Yes.
I'm guessing we could probably get to that part of the program where we give things away.
Perfect.
So that's the cue for Rahina and
Rahina
Casey.
and Casey, come back on.
Come on.
I'm here. Sorry.
That's all good. We're back. Okay, Casey, what do you want to give out the She Just t-shirt first?
Sure, we can do that.
Mumble
Let's see,
that.
we've got, how many do we have? How many prizes? 3?
We got 3.
Okay. We got 3.
So why don't we talk
One,
amongst ourselves while Casey is getting
Yes. Counting.
Okay, I got it.
there you go.
Okay, awesome. So
okay.
who won the She Just t-shirt today?
She Shoots is Maria.
Yay,
Maria.
congrats.
And
She
Maria,
is-
because you are on YouTube, I will need you to send me an email. And you can reach me at casey@ladyguns.ca. And we can set all that up for you. Oops. Didn't mean to get rid of that one quite so soon. And we can set up whatever we need.
We can mail your
Yes.
t-shirt out to you.
Mailing address and shirt size.
Yes, exactly. Okay, prize número 2. The Canada First Ammo prize pack.
Jamie Lee.
Yay.
Ooh. Congratulations. Okay, and our last prize for today, compliments of Cathy, is the Wolf Huntin Adventures / Untamed Women prize pack.
And that is Darren Level.
Awesome.
Yay.
Who's
Going off
listening
to
from
Chilliwack.
Chilliwack, BC.
Perfect.
Shout out.
Awesome. Congratulations to all our winners today. And okay, so with that, let's move on to our upcoming events. So for the CUSF, we're still having the Christmas giveaway. It ends December 15th. The rules are every dollar donated is 1 entry towards the giveaway. The winner will be announced on December 15th. There'll be tons of prizes, including surprise firearm, which is courtesy of Stoker Canada. So if you want to make a donation, you can go to the CUSF.ca website or to the CUSF Instagram page so you can make your donation.
Yeah.
Other than that, we are going to be talking about the fact that on Saturday, we're going to be filming the masterclass series that we had previously mentioned to you guys. So that's finally happening. So I don't know if you ladies want to kind of
Talk about it.
talk a little bit about it.
Well, Saturday we're filming the masterclass. There you go.
Yes.
There you go. What's the master class about, Kelly? What
Yeah.
are we going to give people information on?
We're going to be breaking down how to host a ladies' range day or a range day. We're going to be dividing it into a couple of different categories. 4, I think it is, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah, 4 specific to things like advertising and marketing, also logistics for the day, all kinds of different topics. And we're going to actually just, give masterclass on how to host these based on our experiences and hosting just 1 or 2 ladies' days. I
One
think
or two.
we've all done maybe
Yeah,
1 or
just-
2,
Just a
or a
small handful of them.
couple of hundred.
And
Yeah.
so the masterclass mini-series on Women's Range Days is going to be pre-recorded, and we will be making sure it's available on our YouTube channels, and we will be posting it through all of our social media platforms, so everybody will know where to find it. So it will live in perpetuity out there as a reference point And we know you guys want it because we get emails constantly on how to do a range day, asking for help and asking for advice. So we hope that this will create more women's range days and help people through the process. So that's why we're going to do that, and we're really excited. And while we're doing that, maybe we'll talk about season 3, because this is the last episode of season 2, and we're looking for good ideas and good guests, and then we'll launch season 3. When are we doing that, Rahina?
January 9th will be the first episode of season 3. Yeah, keeping up with our regular Tuesday episodes every second Tuesday of the month, same time as always. So yeah, it'll be fun as always.
As always.
Feels like we just started.
It does.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't feel like we've already done 2 years, 2 seasons of it. So,
Yeah,
that's right.
But yeah, keep
So
learning, keep sharing.
I want to take the chance, because it is the middle of December, to wish everybody happy holidays. Yeah. And hopefully you have downtime with friends and family, some time in the outdoors, because I think that's important for all of us. And I want to say thanks to my team for an amazing year doing She Shoots. And I'm looking forward to this Saturday's masterclass. I think there's going to be a lot of outtakes. And then I'd like to thank Cathy for joining us, for being our last guest of the season, for being such a champion for women in the outdoors community, and for encouraging me to find a way to Manning, because I'm going to have to come up and visit.
Get on up here.
That's right.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, everybody. Happy holidays. Stay safe, and thank you to all our listeners for the past 2 years. And I'm looking forward to season 3. So.
Okay. Awesome. So with that, I guess I'll wrap it up then. So once again, thank you to all our sponsors: Cabela's Canada Outdoor Fund, Savage Arms, Beretta, Vortex, and Canada First Ammo. If you liked today's episode, please leave us a like and follow so you don't miss out on any of our episodes. You can watch us on YouTube and Facebook, or you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. If you liked our message and would like to learn more about our programs, check out our websites at cusf.ca, ladyguns.ca, and maplestaterifleman.com. To support us and get some additional perks, check out our membership programs. Thank you all for tuning into the She Shoots podcast, episode 23, Untamed Women. Make sure to join us on January 9th, same time as always, for our season 3 of the She Shoots. So keep an eye on our social media for the episode announcements. So happy holidays and have a happy new year, everyone. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.